A few years back, Amazon thought, wow, we get so many job applications. Couldn't we use an AI to filter out maybe the first candidates to see which is maybe useful or not in our company to hire? And they trained an AI based on previous job applications and decisions. And the AI seemingly made a good job. But it has turned out that too many women, or almost all the women, were kind of directly filtered out by that AI. And even though they were sometimes even better skilled than the male applicants, it was an issue. The data they had before was mainly having males who had been hired. And the AI implicitly learned that, okay, it seems only males can do this job. So having a bias based on the data which was used for training is one of the biggest problems AI have. But there are others as well. An AI is not always aware of the context. So if you ask an AI, give me a definition of jaguar, it might come up with a nice definition, but is it now about the car, or is it about the animal, or whatever? Yeah, context was missing. We can help it a little bit if we're aware of it. In teaching, for example, if you in your research area have specific terms which might be used for different things in other subjects, you might want to prior your AI. You can upload, for example, a course book or a script with your definitions and the terms how you use them, and then you always write in your prompt when you query something, according to the definitions which I upload here, can you now create a questionnaire? I had a very nice example just now in the Northern Education Conference. There were persons in the area of law. They said, yeah, we couldn't use AI because it always came up with very strange questions and answers which are on a very high level correct, but not going into the details we'd like to have them. I asked them, do you have a textbook or an article which I could give the AI as a context? And they had a research article summarizing everything well. I just uploaded that PDF and said, please, can you now create questions in a multiple choice manner, 10 questions for the students about that area. And it was really generating very nice and useful questions. So we just need to be aware of how to do that. Maybe you want to try that out also very soon after this video. Other ethical issues which we have in AI is that it needs to be verifiable. So when the AI creates a text, it comes up with references, but these references might not be always correct. And if you ask some general questions to ChatGPT, it just gives you an answer, but it quite rarely says, according to this article, this journal article, this video, or wherever the source is for the answer it gives you. And it's hard, it's possible, but it's not there yet in the tools to always verify the answers ChatGPT is giving. Another thing we have in teaching, but also in research, is that quite often we come up with a research hypothesis. We want to do experiments, and we ask the students, please create a hypothesis before you do the experiment. And if they use AI for that, it comes up maybe with 100 possible hypotheses. But which of them is really useful to look into? That's typically something a domain expert knows much better than a general ChatGPT tool. Another issue we have is the reproducibility. When you use ChatGPT and chat with it to get better explanations of some terms and so on, and you then tell the students, okay, in your exercise, please use ChatGPT to do more or less what you have done, it might be that they get different answers. Because, as I explained, ChatGPT is based on machine learning, which is statistical methods, and they not always give the same answers. And sometimes they might be different. So be really clear to give the right prompt, always right. According to the definition I gave in this textbook, can you now please elaborate this and that? And then ChatGPT can help you understanding it with the right context. It's also quite important that we are responsible in the use of AI, because just using it might not be always okay. For example, there could be legal issues. If you get from students texts or maybe even other information, it might not be okay to upload it publicly. In a way, when you upload it in ChatGPT, it's on an American server, which are not always bound to GDPR or other laws. So it becomes a little bit critical. We are out of the legal sphere of what we are able and allowed to do. So be a bit conscious about what kind of material you upload to ChatGPT. And as I mentioned also in other videos, it is good to use ChatGPT to create texts. It's very helpful to check texts, are they consistent. But it is not legally okay to use ChatGPT alone to review texts. I have had that by myself. I submitted an article to a conference and we only got one review, and that review was generated by ChatGPT. So instead of having human experts looking at the text who are actually at the cutting edge of the research and know what's going on, having this general ChatGPT tool to give us some high-level feedback, that is not okay. But another issue as well, our text was yet unpublished and was uploaded to ChatGPT. So it could be used maybe by some persons working at OpenAI to do already something else with that text, maybe even to train future language models, and then stuff which we found out, which are yet unpublished, come already as answers in a future version of ChatGPT. That is definitely not okay. So be careful if you are allowed and if it is okay to use AI for specific tasks. And when you use it, be transparent about that you used it. Use AI to create text, to check text, even to give feedback to the students. The AI can elaborate much more. Can write to the student, I identified this and this issue, and I used ChatGPT to explain it a little bit more detailed, because this explanation is quite often really useful how it comes. And the students as well. They should be transparent about the way how they use AI.